Hello and welcome to Bruce Springsteen Guitar Lessons. This channel is dedicated to helping you learn your favourite Bruce tracks on guitar. Every Friday there'll be a new lesson complete with a full walkthrough of a song with tab and then a breakdown of all the individual parts. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon for notifications. Okay, so today's request is Bruce's Fire. Okay, thanks very much to Patrick Crowley for the request. I hope I've pronounced your name right. Be sure to follow to the end of the video as there'll be parts that I don't necessarily go through in the walkthrough. So for example, some of the Nils parts that they do live or other ways of doing some of the lead parts in this song. So what I'll do now is go through the song with the tab and with the backing track, and then I'll come back and go through all the individual parts. So see you in a bit. Hello and welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that walkthrough. So now what I'm going to do is go through all the individual parts. Like I've said in other videos, this is my kind of take on the song. I've aimed to keep it as close to the recording as possible, but also I've given it my own take and also aimed to simplify it as much as possible for people playing at open mic nights or for a band situation or whatever. Okay, so basically what you've got is this main 2-bar pattern which happens, you know, throughout most of the song, and it's really important to get that rhythm right. So what you've got, you've basically got a G5. So I play it with my little finger here. I don't really know why. You can play it with your first and your third, or your first and your little finger. Now I think he's going to this E5 here, rather than doing an open E string, but if you wanted to do an open E string, that would be fine as well. So what I mean by that is I'm going like this. So G5 to E5 and then back again. So 3-5 on the E and the A, and then 0-2 on the E and the A. Okay, now rhythm wise what he's doing is this: 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's quite a weird rhythm. It's all quavers and crotchets. Again, if you're stuck with those types of rhythms, head over to jsmusicschool.co.uk, go on the blog, go on strumming, and you'll find some stuff there about how to sight read rhythms. Okay, so it's very useful. Okay, so that timing again, you've got 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm doing that downstroke, so it's just got a bit more of an impact to it. If you did this, I think it sounded a little bit flaky. So that's the main 2-bar riff, but again, you could do it like this, which he might even be doing on the record anyway. So this version is based on the Promise kind of live recording that they brought out in 2010, I think. You know, the Darkness on the Edge of Town kind of outtakes. Great little box set that is. Okay, so that rhythm again. Also make sure to palm mute it. So this is really important. You don't want this a bit over the top. Yeah, so the idea is you're using this fleshy part of the hand to dull the notes a little bit. Again, and you could use the open E string instead of going to that power chord. So it's a little bit easier doing that. But you don't really want that D note to ring. That's the only issue, which is why I prefer doing the E5. Okay, so then basically what you've got, again, what I'm going to do is put the song structure up now. So with my song structures, I like to keep it as simple as possible. Now here, what I've done is, you see where it says, say, G5 times 4, that actually means 2 rounds of this riff, because it's a 2-bar riff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's 2 bars, okay? So that's 4 bars, but 2 rounds of the riff, okay? So you see G5 times 4, that means 2 rounds of the riff, okay? So the intro, for example, does 2 rounds of the riff. And on the song structure, it will show up as G5 times 4, because it's 4 bars in total. Okay, then he starts singing, so you've got that G5 times 4, which is 2 rounds of that riff. Then he's going up to, I'm doing A5 here, then just the open E string. Again, it's not a nightmare if you hit that A string. You don't ideally want to, but it's an E anyway, so it's not too bad. So you're going A5, same rhythm, but only 1 round of that A5 riff, and then back to G5 riff, back to A5, then the G5 riff. Okay, so that's the idea. Is the verse sections, which are going to happen once, twice, 3 times, actually technically 5 times because they're the same chords that go behind the guitar solo and the sax solo as well. And it's a 14 bar riff, so I'll show you what I mean. So to get that pattern in your head will be really useful. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now this next bit, the next 2 bars, so bars 13 and 14, I'm doing this. And now that, in the actual recording, he's doing something like this. More of a picking pattern, but it's quite hidden in the mix, and I think when the drums come in they're doing more of this sort of quavers. So I'm basically just doing quavers, C major and D major downstrokes, and kind of slightly palm muting it as well. So that's downstrokes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's your 14 bar riff, okay, which happens in the first verse, the second verse, the third verse, behind the guitar solo, behind the sax solo, and then in the fourth verse. I think that's right, so it might be 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6 times in total. So it's actually the majority of the song. Okay, so I'll just go through that structure again. Again, with the song structure, the G5 times 4 means 2 rounds of that 2 bar riff. If you see, say, A5 times 2, it means 1 round of this riff. I hope that makes sense. So, okay, that 14 bar riff again. So bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so bar 13 and 14. Yeah, so again, it doesn't make too much of a difference if you do that or that. That will the E5 will probably be slightly more accurate. So, okay, so that's the verse sections, and in the break sections, he's basically doing twice. That's the first break, the second break, the third break, and then the fourth break. So that happens 4 times. Again, so nice and simple. Okay, so so you got the intro, which is that basically the same as the break section, the verse section, the first break, then the second verse, and then the second break, and then the chorus section. So the chorus section happens twice, okay, and I basically just keep it simple, the classic down, down, up, up, down, up patterns, which is 1 crotchet, so downstroke, 6 quavers, but 1 of them is tied. So you've got this, down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. Again, head over to my blog on JS Music School on strumming. Bruce uses it a lot, and it's a sort of strumming pattern that you want to use all the time. It's awesome. Okay, so that's the suggested strumming pattern for the chorus. So down, down, up, up, down, up, on C major and G major, D major, G major, then C major, G major, then A major, and then I'm doing a D there and then stopping for 2 bars, okay? So it's technically 9 bars in total. So I do this chorus section again to C, G, D, G, C, G, A, B, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he could be playing dominant 7th chords, so it might be playing an A7 or a D7 for those the D and the A chords there. So you feel free to do that instead if you want. It's quite hard to hear what he's doing. It might be the piano that's doing that, the dominant 7th chord. So if you wanted to do it with dominant 7th chords for the D and the A, it would sound like this. So C, G, D7. C, G, A7, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can play around with that. Okay, cool. So that is the chorus section, and then you've got the third verse, third break, and then you've got the guitar solo. Okay, so the guitar solo is in G major pentatonic predominantly. So the whole song is in G major because you've got chords like G, A minor, C, D, etc. So it basically uses the first shape of the G major pentatonic. So again, if you're stuck on pentatonics or what the hell they are, head over to Jay's Music School, go blog, go guitar solos, and you'll get some help there. So this is a really common shape. So fret-wise, you've got 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 3. Okay, and again, it might not be exactly the same as the record. He'll probably ad-lib live, and Niels, I think, does a lot of things. You know what Bruce is like, they're constantly changing the song structure, but this is quite a cool little solo if you wanted to play the solo that's on the record. Okay, and basically what he's doing, that's the first bit. So you're coming in on the and of 3, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1. Okay, so you got this bend. It's actually quite a challenging bend in the second fret. You could always do it up here in the first shape up, so you go, and he actually does that bit later in the song. So if you're struggling to do the bends down there, just move it up there. Okay, so that's the first bit. That's the third fret E. Do that bend, again, middle finger, first finger, whatever you can get the best control. And then you've got the second bit of the solo, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And you can either pick that open G or do a pull off, like that. Again, time wise is the same. The next bit, so that open E goes nicely over the A5 power chord, and then you've got the next bit, so same as the second one. And then you've got the and of 3 again, bend, release on the second fret G, second fret G there, and then you've got 1, 2 and. So I play it like that. You could do it something like this. That makes sense. So bend, release on the second fret G. Probably best to pull off that note. And that's coming in on the and of 2. So it's 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Next bit. So this bit's really nice. You've got a grace note hammer on here. So you've got 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. And then another grace note hammer on the second fret G. Okay, now the next bit, you've got some triplet crotchets. That's 3 notes in the space of 2 beats. But here what we've got is the first out of those 3 arrests. So you've got 1, like that. Third fret E, third fret B, and then I've basically got this. So all. Okay, so this bar again. Okay, so there's lots of kind of classic blues riffs. So now Bruce is probably jamming that in the studio, so he's not going to play that the same every time. So don't be concerned if it's not exactly the same as the record. Yeah, this is just, you know, roughly what he's doing on the. But you can play around. You know, just play around with that shape. Come up with your own little thing. And he does do lots of embellishments at the end of the song as well. So those last 2 bits again, so you've got this grace note hammer on, grace note hammer on again there, and then that comes in, I think, beat 2 of the next bit. So Again, play around with the timings of those bends as well. Some of them are longer than others. And then you got the 1, 2. It does something like that. Whereas this has actually come up before in the solos. So the bend release on the 2nd fret G, then open D, open G, 3rd fret E. I think I put on the tab in the walkthrough to pick those two, but it might actually sound better pulling off. So bend release, bend release, then pull off, open G, 3rd fret low E, and then he's kind of doing this 3rd fret E string, 2nd fret A. And at the end of the solo, you've got this, I think he's doing something like that. So 3rd fret E, 5th fret E, 3rd fret E again. Okay, so again, it's all based around the E, the G major pentatonic, which is this. The relative minor key, by the way, is E minor, so you might already know this scale, but basically it functions around the E minor rather than the G. That's all to do with major pentatonics and minor pentatonics and how they link together, but let's not be too concerned with that. So I'll play that solo again. So the first bit. Okay, next bit. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Can open E string for this one, and then pull off. 2, and they get 1, 2, 3. That bit there. Then 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Triplet. Then so again, check the tab as well. Don't forget, in the walkthrough, you can use the cog icon to slow the video down, so you can see the tab clearly pop in and out. A lot of people don't know that. So again, cog icon when you're watching the walkthrough. So that's the solo section, and then again, he's doing lots of ad-lib stuff here later on. So play around with that. Again, that's the first shape up there. Again, common pentatonic scales. Okay, so there's also some other stuff going on in the verses. And I think there's some sort of tremolo style part like that. So you could play around with that if you want, instead of going, or if you're playing a band and you want the other guy to do that version, the other part of the song. So it sounds something like that. Don't know whether it's an effect or a special amp that they're using. I would suggest something like this if you wanted to have a go at this kind of this section. So again, this is in the 3rd and the 4th verses, I think. So not sure if it's in the first two, but I might be wrong there. So I'm just doing a broken G chord. So 5, 4, 3, 3. But again, another G somewhere else would work fine as well. So I'm going 1, 2, and basically wiggling the tremolo arm, or if you've got a tremolo pedal, or just to get roughly the sound he's doing. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but this works pretty nice. So over the G, 5 bits, play a broken G chord. Now over the A5 bits, I think do an A minor type chord. So here I'm doing a broken A minor, so fret-wise 7, 5, 5, 5, starting from the D string. It sounds quite nice. And then over the C's, do something like that. Okay, so that's a nice little bit that you can do. Again, if you're in a band situation, you probably prefer to do that. If you're on your own, you probably want to do the main bit. But again, entirely up to you. Cool, so then they've got the harmony bits. Not so much harmony, but basically I think I've watched some of the live versions they've done back in the day, and Niels, I think, it might be Niels, is doing some really cool little... So that's something you can play around with. It basically, the theory behind it is you've got the G major scale up here. And then he's harmonising it with the third. So G and B, that's a third above G. So you basically got this. So that's basically how the scale works. So if you did that together, you got this. I think he's doing cool little things like that. So again, play around with that if you'd like as well. It can be quite cool. Again, I think he does that a lot more live. You can't really I don't think there are these things at all on the record, but if you want to have a go at some of the live stuff, that'll work really well. Cool, okay, so I think that's everything. Again, the song structure will also be in the description as well. Any questions or comments, please feel free to ask in the comment section. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next week. Thanks very much for watching.